Hi, I'm Josh Alarcon, and today I will be explaining what I did for my multimedia project. As we all know, election year comes with a lot of madness and one side of the spectrum that is going to be more upset than the other. In the past, elections have just been based off of what your party interests are and the way you align yourself with them, and then that's how you vote. But in this election, it was very much different than the past elections like we've never seen before. It speculated the largest voter turnout in a long time. Basically, people voted for the lesser of two evils in this election. Obviously, both of those being the evil, then they just had to choose which one was less evil for them to cast their vote. Since this election was such a scary year and we did not know what would happen, I decided to do a social experiment to see how people felt which political issue was their biggest and why. So I did a lot of gathering of my answers that I received, and I had 88 total people answer me, and they had multiple answers within those. So that's why the numbers that I'm going to show you are higher than what it says. So the women's rights had a total of 36 votes, racial issues had 35, LGBT rights had 24, climate change had 18, healthcare had 11, education had 8, defunding the police had 7, gun reform had 4, anti-church and the government had 4, taxing the rich at 3, anti-capitalism at 2, and Palestine versus Israel at 1. And then with the other poll, I asked, what do you align yourself more with? And I had given the options Democrat, Republican, moderate, or the last answer, which was just to see the answers. But I'm sure a lot of people pressed that thinking they would see how many people voted for what. But that wasn't the case. That was just so I wouldn't mark whichever one is wrong. What was interesting for me to see was that I received this one answer from a girl who considers herself a slight Republican, but her biggest issue is defunding the police. As we know, defunding the police has been brought up by the Black Lives Matter movement that has been sparked after the killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis. So as this person, they describe themselves to not be completely for defunding the police. I'm just going to go ahead and read what they have said. They said, defunding the police is my biggest political issue. I support training the police involving other workers such as CPS for child abuse. I don't support completely defunding them because then we are left on our own. Imagine somebody's breaking into your house. You can call 911, but when you defund the police, then you're laying off who knows how many officers, causing that police officer you need for a home invasion to be an hour out instead of 10 minutes. As a Democrat myself, it was kind of interesting to see a Republican say that defunding the police was their biggest political issue, just because they are more so pro-gun, pro-life. From what we know, defunding the police has been brought up in recent politics just because of the killing of George Floyd that sparked the Black Lives Matter movement, and the Black Lives Matter movement believes that the police should be defunded in order to reallocate the funds into going to different things in the military and the police academy. Defunding the police just did not make sense to get an answer out of this person. So what was also interesting to see was the amount of women's rights votes had. I received this one answer of somebody saying that they believe that women's rights are most up for risk just because they have PCOS, which is polycystic ovary syndrome. Without the medications that professionals prescribe to people with PCOS, it can be life-threatening and cause infertility in women. Since the whole argument of Planned Parenthood being defunded has also been brought up in the Republican side of the spectrum, this person feels like they should continue to fund Planned Parenthood just because Planned Parenthood isn't just abortions and rather having people being provided with STD, STI testing, birth control that regulates women's menstrual cycle, and birth control that can just be used as a contraceptive. Another one that was interesting to see was that I saw a lot of people put down LGBT rights being their number one issue. Personally, I know some of these people, and it was interesting to see that they had put LGBT rights down as their main priority, just because as a member of the community myself, it is awesome to see so many people supporting you and people that I've never even spoke to about these issues have put down LGBT rights as one of their main topics. My opinion put into this is that I believe that equality is a very top priority on my list just because it is awful to see people that are minorities still having their rights taken away from them, or even at risk to being taken away. Just because we have some rights does not mean we are equal. I believe our generation has the power to shape the next movement of the political agenda in the United States, and we will not stop until we get everything that we want. Not equality just for some, but for all. So the reason I did this experiment was just because it was so vague, and it was interesting to see these people that align themselves with so-and-so party having so-and-so views that don't align with the party that they align with themselves. This social experiment was very fun and easy to conduct, and it only took 24 hours to get full responses from people, and I had surprisingly more answers than I had anticipated, which was very awesome, which was easier for me to conduct and produce this social experiment that I'm providing this project with. But rather than just this being a project, it was also very fun to see every answer that everybody had to say.